All right, so let's get started, guys. My name is Sergio, and this is Dev.
And yeah, and my name is Dev. I'm
Yeah,
a CSE student at UCI. I'm in my junior year.
yeah, and I'm a senior, also at UCI. Um, we're both from Codepath.org,
Yeah.
where we teach Android. We also have, as part of the UCI cohort, we have iOS as well, and we're also going to be bringing in cybersecurity in, which Chase is going to be helping out with actually, one of your organizers. And just this is just like a quick little plug. We're going to we have classes in winter and spring. It's a really fun class. You learn a lot, and you can use it for jobs. And CodePath is a great organization. They have a whole bunch of networking events. This summer we had a career fair um, on top of this class. So here's the link. It's if you don't want to copy it, it's just codepath.org/classes. You can find
Also, the best thing about this is that it's no cost. So yeah, keep that in mind.
Yeah, exactly. So CodePath provides this sort of boot camp sort of course, which usually costs thousands of dollars and they don't usually teach it at school for free. It's a nonprofit. It's a great organization. So yeah,
And there are like
codepath.org.
big companies which back up this organization, like Facebook and stuff. So yeah, you know.
Yeah, yeah. We have a lot of backing and from like Microsoft, Walmart, not Walmart, Facebook. I mean, I think Walmart, Amazon as well. So yeah, so let's get started with the session. Oh, actually, sorry, that was. Oh no, it didn't show up, Dev. The tutorial thing.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so this is some of the apps that you make during the class. You have the Flickster app, and then Twitter doesn't show, but it looks just like Twitter. And then Parsagram is using just a parse server as a backend, and then we're gonna make a sort of Instagram clone. But that's enough um, for the plug, I guess. So here's the presentation. So yeah, so first let's start off with the process of app design. So first you're gonna want to, and right now we're just showing a little bit of Xcode stuff, which is pretty similar to Android. So, but first you're gonna be designing your layouts for each part of your app, for each screen that you want to use, which is gonna be used to like display like anything you want, pictures, data, stuff like that. And then to tie each part together and to put stuff on each screen, you're gonna be writing the code. This is pretty like obvious stuff. And the layouts are going to be in XML code, and then the code is going to be in Java. So if you know C++, or so C++, C Sharp or anything, it's going to be pretty similar. And if you don't know Java, it's pretty similar to C++. And if you do know Java, then great. Well, then you're already one step ahead. And again, this is Xcode, so sorry about that. But this is, we just had this slide deck already prepped. But Android Studio is very similar to this. You'll see this in a second. On the left side is going to be the navigator area where you're going to be able to navigate through all the files in your project, your source files, and your also resource files where your layout is going to be. And then on the right side, oh, let me actually put up a pointer. Can I put a pointer? Yeah. On the right side is going to be the inspector area, and we'll show you this as well. It's going to be where like all the attributes of your layout is going to be. On the bottom, it's going to be your debug area where all the stuff, all the feedback from like from the app is going to be like the running stuff. And yeah, any like exceptions or errors is going to show there as well. But we'll show you this again when we get there. So just a little background. So views, basically, there's 5 different control views within an app. It's gonna be a text view, which is gonna show, and on the right side, it's an example of all these things. A text view is gonna show it's gonna show static text. This is where you want to show information in a text format to users. And you usually don't want the user to be able to control or like change what's in there unless you want, like, there's some logic tied to this. Yeah, and then so edit text. This is where the user is gonna be able to input anything. So we'll show you in the app that we're gonna be showcasing. If you want to put like for a login page, this is where this is we're gonna use for like an email or the password and stuff like that. And the button it's gonna connect different parts of your app, or you're gonna connect logic to that button to be able to do stuff. So like submit, or if you want to change the background of your app, you can also submit logic to when you press the button, you can change the color or something like that. But the button's basically just an action button, and image view is going to be holding pictures or images. It can be like any sort of file. I believe it's a PNG. Like you can do like a bitmap file. It supports a whole bunch of different files, and that's where you're going to be putting like pictures. Let's say like from an API or something, or like a database. You have a database of pictures, and that's where you're going to get. That's where you're going to put those pictures. And then an image button is going to basically you're going to combine the button and the image view together. But the functionality is of a button. It just says image button because you're able to make your own sort of image or your own custom button. If you want to put like a little like check mark or something like that in there as the image, you'll be able to do that, and then it'll act as a button. So instead of having this sort of default Android button, you'll have your own custom button.
Yeah, let me just share my screen real quick.
Sure.
Can you guys see my screen?
There.
Can you guys see my screen?
There we go. Yeah, we should be able to.
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about Recyclerviews, and Recyclerviews are a very essential and important part of making any Android app, I believe. And we heavily focus on Recyclerviews in our coursework as well. So what is a Recyclerview? It's an extension of what was originally called a list view. So it's basically a list of scrollable items. So maybe you have a list of images which you want to scroll down, or you have like a list of instructions and you just keep on scrolling down. It's that kind of a thing. And the most interesting part about a Recyclerview is that it saves view holders off screen so that they can be reused by populating new data in them. So by view holders, I mean like a particular row of information or a particular image row. So as you scroll up, the things which leave the screen, that is saved and new data is put in them, and then it sort of shows as your new entry to the list, that kind of a thing. So yeah, so there are like 4 components to making a Recyclerview. One is the Recyclerview object itself, which is provided by Android Studios, and the other is the adapter. And the adapter sort of it's like the in between your data and your Recyclerview. View holder is like a particular row in your Recyclerview where you can actually populate that row with data, and that's going to show on your Recyclerview. And the layout manager is how you want your Recyclerview to look. You want it to be like a list, you want it to be like a grid, or some other fancy way of presenting information. So this is like an excellent diagram, I feel. So this is your data source right here. It can be you're pulling from an API or anything. Let's say this is like some kind of a like a books or a Google Images API or something, where you have like a caption and like a bunch of pictures. So what your adapter is doing is that it's taking in these images and captions, it's putting them in a view holder, and the view holder will basically have an empty image view and an empty text view, something like what's here. So it would just have this empty image view and the empty text view, and the adapter will populate that empty image view and text view with the appropriate image and caption. And then in the Recyclerview, this view holder is placed in the Recyclerview, and that's why you can see the Eiffel Tower and the caption called the Eiffel Tower in there. So that's basically like a simple diagram. And now let's talk about the adapter in more detail. So this is like a basic general outline for the adapter. What it does is that it binds the views binds data to the views, as I mentioned before. It will take the image and the text from the database and stick it into the view holder. So these are the 3 main functions on create view holder. So what does that do? What it does is that it sort of initializes an empty view holder with an empty image view and an empty text view, if I'm referring to this particular example. So Oncreate view holder will give you an empty image view and an empty text view. On bind view holder, what that does is that it populates data into those empty image views and empty text views. So now I have a populated image view and a populated text view. And get item count just tells you how many such view holders you have near this. And now we talk about view holders. Should I stop sharing?
Sure, I'll just share mine now.
Okay.
Ah,
I think I have to stop sharing.
yeah, I think you do. Just let me know when you're done.
Yeah,
Good?
I'm done.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah. So as Dev said, this is what a view holder is. So basically, each view holder holds different components inside of it. In the first slide, we talked about like text view, image view, and stuff like that. Each view holder is going to hold those elements within it. And what Recyclerview is going to do is it's just going to put those view holders within a certain, or it's going to be able to organize those view holders in the way that you chose to put them. So we'll go into that. So as you can see in this example, each square in this sort of in this linear layout, which we'll go over, is one view holder. And they're displayed in this screen in a linear vertical manner. And then once we scroll up, the top view is going to be sort of recycled, or the memory for that top view is going to be recycled, and then a view from the bottom, like so, if you go a view holder from the bottom is going to take that memory, and then the Recyclerview is going to be able to use it. So it's a very efficient way. But you don't have to know about that. If you take our class, you'll learn more about that. But you know, so yeah. So let's talk about Layout Manager. And here it says I position the views. So that's what it does. So there's more managers in this, or layout managers in this, but this is just a few examples. So like a linear layout manager displays the view holders in a linear manner, so one after another, either vertically or horizontally. There's so you can pick either vertical or horizontal layout manager or linear layout. This grid layout manager positions each view as a grid of 4, I believe. I believe you can also change that. I just haven't really used grid layout manager that much, but each square is one view holder. And then the staggered grid layout manager is a pretty similar. It's really similar to grid layout, but the size of each sort of view holder or square is going to be I guess dynamic based on the size of the image. So like waterfalls is smaller, and then the hills has a bigger image, so it's bigger, and then the mountain or the southern one is bigger and bigger and smaller and smaller. So yeah, so that's so that allows you to like it kind of looks like Pinterest or something like that, where it has different images and stuff. So yeah, so let's get coding. I'll keep sharing my screen, Dev, because I already have it pulled up.
Yeah, I have it pulled up as well. So
okay,
yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Let me know, guys, if you don't have this or have Android Studio. You should already have it. Let's see, why is this not?
So Jessica is asking if we follow along with the tutorial. We're sort of just explaining how we're just sort of explaining all of the concepts, and we will give you the starter code so that you can run it and check how things work. We're just explaining how Android Studio is, how you can VCS the package into your Android Studios and stuff like that.
Yeah. So let me go into like a blank screen.
No need to follow along. Yeah.
Is my screen still sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very cool background, guys. Thanks. So if you start Android Studio, you should have this screen. You won't have anything on the left if you don't have any projects. So I just want to give you guys a second. I should be able to see if you guys are saying anything, but I'm not sure where to see that. One sec. Did I go into here? Okay, so I'm going to assume, since someone's saying in the chat, that you guys all have Android Studio open. So from this screen, what you're going to do is do get from version control. Oh, I forgot this to post a link in the chat. My bad. 1 second. Okay, and then once you're in this screen, let me go into this blank screen again. Once you're in this sort of tab, you're gonna paste the link that I posted in the chat into the URL, and then you're gonna hit clone, and then it'll ask you like to confirm. It's not gonna allow me to do that because I already have it in here, but it'll ask you to confirm in it, and then it should open the project. And then give it a few seconds to index all the files and stuff like that. But this is Android Studio. If you guys want to follow along as we're going. So this is what the file, I guess, layout's going to look like once you have everything loaded in and everything's already indexed within your Android Studio. And if you see on the left side, we have like the file directories. So if you see, I went into to get to the source files. You want to go into your app. I mean, this should be open. If it's not, open the app folder and then go into Java, and then go to the top Codepath that basic to do, and then the two Java files should be in there. And then to get to this layout, you want to go into the res folder, which is going to be within the app, res, and then layout, and then activity main.xml. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you want to wait for like 5 minutes if it's taking time for them to load it?
Yeah. So, okay, sure. And if anyone is still needs, or if anyone's stuck, definitely just let the chat know.
Just let us know when we can continue.
Yeah. I wish we could do like a little thumbs up from everyone. I don't know if they can. Okay, so it's still loading. So I'll give it like 2-3 minutes, so it should be finished loading. Then we lost some people. No. No, it's okay. I think it's because for us it's gonna be hard to explain everything that we need. It's better to just give the code and go through it. In my opinion, it might not be. I guess it's a test for our future class run as well. But so if one of the teammates could let me know when you guys see all the files loaded like this. That would be great. I have too many things open. Sorry. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. So in the goal of getting everyone, I mean, it'll just keep loading. If it's still loading, you can still follow along. I just want to go forward with the lesson, I guess. So this is Android Studio. Like I said, on the left side, it's all the files, and let's go on the right. On the right side, it's all of the attributes of each of these different views or view elements. You can see like there's ID, like the width. So here you can easily edit like a whole bunch of different attributes of each component. You can do it in the code, but like I don't know if you want to, if you're really into like CSS sort of designing, that's completely up to you. That's completely fine. But this is more intuitive, more user-friendly way to do it. Let's see. Okay. So sorry, Jessica. I mean, it's still it should be fine. Okay. So let me go over this. So basically, the first thing you're going to be doing is going to be designing your layout. This is going to be the layout for a simple to-do app. So it's like a to-do list, which is actually the pre-work for our class. So you'll get like a nice little head start if you want to do that. So this right here is the recycler view that we're talking about. As you can see, inside it says item 0, 1, 2, 3. In each item is going to be like a view holder. So this is when you drag it into, I'll just drag in something else. I'll drag it in image view. And so when you drag in this image view, you can pick like an avatar. That's fine. And then it'll show up inside this screen right here to the right, or in the center, but also shows up in the hierarchy to the left. If you guys can follow my cursor, it shows up to the left.
Also, Sergio, like, what can you tell them what to do if your image view just goes to the top left? Because that usually happens.
Yeah, I mean, so if it goes to the top left, you want to, so the layout that we're using right now is called relative layout, and relative layout means that each component is placed on the screen relative to other parts of the layout. So let's say for button add, this is set relative to the bottom of this whole screen. So the whole screen, basically the base screen is called the parent screen, or not parent screen. You just call it parent, and the bottom is relative to the bottom of the parent. It's set to the bottom. So you can see on each one there's like different nodes, top, bottom, left, and right, and you only have to set a few of them for it to be in place. So add is set. The bottom of add is set relative to the bottom of the whole parent, and then the right, like the right side of add is set to the right side of the parent, and yeah. So let me just go over like a few things. So the recycler view is what we're going to be putting all of our data in. This image view we can just erase since that was just for example. And then on the bottom here we have an edit text. So to get to edit text, you can just use this little search bar and then put edit text. And then it gives you a whole bunch of different options. Plain text is just the regular plain text. And then all the other options, you can set a password, which when the user's typing, it'll be in like a secret. And then email, and phone also. It also allows the app to detect which edit text it's doing. And then the keyboard will adjust. So like email, it'll have like the @ symbol in the keyboard. Phone, the keyboard will display with numbers instead of letters. Time, I believe it'll also allow you to set a time within the keyboard. Stuff like that. But like I said, to add it, you just drag it into here, or you can add it to the hierarchy as well. Let's see. Okay. And then so this edit text. So when we dragged in this button add, this button right here, we put it to the bottom right, and then we set it relative to the right side of the parent and to the bottom of the parent. And when we dragged in this edit text, you want to set the top of it. Let's see. I can actually just erase this. Okay. Okay. Just to show you how to do it, you get the top circle, and then you can drag it to the top of add, and then it'll set the height of the edit text to the height of add, or yeah, the position of the edit text is going to be set to the top of button add. So like wherever button add goes, this edit text cannot go any higher than that. Okay. And then this recycler view is set to be to above the button add. So if you can see here, 1 second. It's the bottom to this. Okay. So these two, the button add and the recycler view, are set to be relative to each other. So the bottom of this recycler view is set to the top of add, and the top of add is set to the bottom of recycler view. So whichever device you're using to run this, each component is going to be above and below each other. So like it's never going to be they're never going to be able to cross. So yeah, so like basically to edit all the attributes of each component, you can go to this right side. You can set the width, the height. Oh, and also you can also set margins. So if you want each little box to be like spaced out of each other, let's see. Okay, yeah. So on the right side, if you look at at my cursor, so layout margin top is going to be the margin from the top of the screen to or to the top of whatever it is constrained to. So let's say one button add to be like at least 20 pixels away from or separated from Recyclerview. We can set button add to be margin button. You can set it like to 50 dp. We're just gonna take because this can't go any lower. It's gonna push the Recyclerview up. But let's see. And then now that we set it to 0, it's gonna. Oh, am I? Oh no, I'm still on this. My bad. I'm gonna do this. Go. So now the Recyclerview is back to where it's normal stage. But as you can see here, maybe set the margin top equal to 10 dp. It's gonna 40 dp. Why is it? Oh, my bad. I keep selecting the wrong one. My bad. Yeah, since button add can't be any lower, it's gonna have to move the Recyclerview up because it can't go any lower. Let's see. Okay. I just want to reset everything. Oops. Reset everything I did so I don't mess anything up. So now we're back to where we started. Was there any questions that we had so far before I move on? Anything? Okay. Yeah. Feel free to add any questions on the chat, and whoever's not presenting is going to check the chat as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so Dev is going to take it. So that's the layout. If you have any questions about the layout, just let me know, and then we'll help you out.
Let me just share my screen again.
Yeah.
Can you see Android Studios on my?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, perfect. So just a little bit more on just one small thing about the layout is that what you can do is you can split between code and the layout, and I can like just make anything bigger or smaller accordingly, and I can also only do code. And little small thing about the code as well, it's actually, even though it looks very messy and very like super complicated, it's very similar to your component tree over here. So you see that sorry, the constraint layout is like on the top, and it's like the most unindented thing. So that means it's like the base or the parent, and then button and edit text are like indented inside. So that means they are like the children, and so is the Recyclerview. So it's like it's pretty similar. It just looks very scary at first. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the adapter, and the adapter is one of the most essential components of the Recyclerview to get it working. It was about the whole putting the data into view holder thing, if you remember from the slides. But it's alright, we can go over that again. So this is how our adapter looks, and if you can recognize, we have these three functions: on create view holder, on bind view holder, and get item count. So these were the three basic instructions which we were talking about. So let's start from the beginning. This is a list of strings which are called items, and these items are basically the things which we are going to be showing on our Recyclerview, because we have like a to-do list. So those to-do objects are basically just going to be strings, like I have to go to the gym, I have to do this, that, blah blah, whatever. And this is like the constructor for the items adapter. If anyone has done OOP, it's going to be pretty familiar. So it takes in the items, and it takes in this on-click listener. I'll get to that a little later, but just avoid that for right now. And it just does the basic this dot items is equal to items. I think this would be pretty easy for anyone to understand who's an OOP. So now let's come to this first function. It returns a view holder object, and a view holder, as I can remind you again, is like a row. You can think of it as a row in the recycler view. And in this function takes what this function basically does is that it inflates this to-do view with this layout called simple list item 1. Let's see what simple list item 1 is. Simple list item 1 is just a text. It's just a text view. So what it does is that it takes this view holder, which is called to-do view, and says, hey, I'm going to put in the format of simple list item 1 into to-do view, so that now to-do view has basically an empty text view. Yep. So this is all that this function is doing. It's just taking this simple list item 1, it's putting it into this to-do view, and now to-do view has a empty text view.
Oh, and just real quick, the simplest item 1 is just a pre-built Android layout that you can use. That there's simplest item 1, 2, 3. There's different stuff like that. You can also look them up on the Android documentation. Or but
you can also create.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Dave.
You can also create your own custom view holder layout, and you can make it a little more complicated. Say I want a text view and an image view, and probably a few more text views to display something. So what that does is that whole chunk of text views and image views, that whole thing becomes one row, because that whole thing is your view holder, if that makes sense. So, and then what it does is that it wraps it around the view holder constructor and it returns it to you. So that's basically what this does. On bind view holder says, hey, I have got an empty view holder, which in this case is just an empty text view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put data into it. So what it does is that it takes a particular position from your list of data, your list of strings here, and it says that I'm going to be putting data of that particular position into the folder. So that's what it does. And get item count just returns the size of your list of items over here. Now we see that we have created also a view holder class, and that extends the Recyclerview.view holder, which is just an inbuilt Android thing. So what this view holder has is just a text view. And why does it have a text view? Because in our layout, we've just added a text view. So that's why it just has a text view attribute. So in the constructor of the view holder, what it does is that it does this thing called as find view by ID, and it stores it sort of stores like an ID of text1 into TV item. So what is text1? Text1 is what we've called our text view in this layout. As you can see, the ID over here is text1. So what it does is that this basically now we can have this variable called TV item to reference the text view, which has got an ID of text1. So that's all this is doing. Find view by ID. It just you are able to reference the view with this particular ID. And on bind. So you see in this function which we've called this bind function, this has been defined in the view holder class, and this is something which you would have to do. So what this does is that it just takes the string item and it just sets TV item to that. So over here on bind view holder, I just grab an item at the given position. So I have a list of strings and I have been given position 5, that's index 5. So I'm just going to grab the string at index 5 and I'm just going to save it in this variable called item, and I'm just going to pass it into bind. And what bind is doing is that it's saying, hey, I'm going to take the string item and I'm going to set it to this text view. So what's going to actually happen is that the text view is going to display this text view is going to display the string which I've added in here. That sounds good? Yeah. Yeah. And so this is basically the general format. And now what this on long click listener is doing is that our to-do list has this feature where if you hold a particular view holder on the recycler view for a certain period of time, what it does is that it removes that view holder from the list. So what that functionality basically is trying to do is that, hey, I've already finished this task in my to-do list and I want to remove it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold that view holder and it'll just disappear from my list. So that's the functionality what this is doing. So what we are doing right now is that we're creating an interface. An interface is like an abstract function.
Class.
I can just think, sorry, abstract class, my bad. I can just think of it as a, it's not the best way to think of it, but you can think of it as a wrapper of a already inbuilt function, which is called on item long click. So on item long click will just do something if it senses that a particular view holder has been clicked for a certain period of time, and it takes in this int position. So what on bind does is that if it sees that it just when it senses the on long click, it gets the adapter position relative to it, and it just returns true, saying that this function has functioned properly.
Yeah.
Completed. Yeah. And I think now let's hand it back to Sergio, who's going to talk about the main activity.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. And I just had a quick little thing about the custom layout. So this is a custom layout that you can make. So in the presentation we're using a simple list item, but if you want to make your own, this is from the Twitter app that you make during the Codepath course. So as you can see, there's an image view, which can be like a profile picture. I mean, if you have Twitter, you'll what I'm talking about. And then on top, it's like the handle, and then on the bottom, you have another text view. It should be longer. It should be like a paragraph right here. And then where the tweet is, and then up here is a timestamp. So you can design like a layout like this, and then use it in the inflator, and inflate this layout to be able to put all your data in here. So like you would put, so there's image view, text view, text view, text view, and you put the data in each of these text views.
Also, just one real quick thing about this is that where Sergio has created this layout, what he's done is he's gone to res layout, and then he's created this XML layout over there.
Yeah, so I totally forgot to mention that. So yeah, so you go into res and then to layout, and then you do new, and then layout resource file, and then name it whatever you want. I can call test layout. Yeah. And then it just asks me to add it to the Git. It doesn't matter. And so you can add whatever you want in there. And I think the default is constraint layout. And then that's how you start making your layout. I totally forgot to answer that. Thanks, Dev. So yeah. So let me go into the main activity. So the main activity is just like the main activity of your entire program, where all your logic should run through. You can, and each activity, we actually didn't have a slide about activities. Activities basically like a different screen or function in your app where you want to have function running. So like a login activity is going to just have login functionality and stuff or code. And then but the main activity, we only have the main activity here because it's a relatively smaller app. But if we wanted a lot more features, a lot different screens, then we had multiple activities.
Just one more thing I'd like to add on that, if you don't mind, Sergio. So you can think of an activity as like a collection of your XML file and your Java file. So what your XML file is, it's you put your layout in there, and then your Java file, it basically does the functionality for that particular XML file. So it's just a group of these two things.
Yeah. There's also things like fragments that are way more advanced than activities. So if you're making an app right now in this constrained time, I suggest you just use activities instead of fragments, which you can also research if you and if you have time and if you want to really learn that, you can use fragments, which is what most people use if they have time. But using just main activity to run all your code should be fine for now. Okay, so first let's go off of or let's start. So here on top, we're declaring all of our stuff. Sorry, that IV test in your code, that should not be there. I forgot to take it out. I was just testing the code. So this is going to hold. So this list of type string is going to hold a list of items, which is just going to be your to-do list items. And we want to also initialize each part of the layout that you had. So in here we want to initialize ET items, RV items, and button add. So you want to initialize all those. And then we also want to create or we want to create an object of our items adapter. So yeah. So the Oncreate method is the first method that your activity is going to go into. It's like you could say a constructor of activity. It's not like a real constructor, but it's like the first method that your activity is going to be executing. And then the set content view just basically just puts the what the user is going to see when it enters the activity, if it's going to go into the main activity or into the main. So it says activity main. It's this is what the user is going to see when they come in. So set content view, that's what that does. And Dev already explained find by view ID or find view by ID, and then you just initialize what we allocated here into each object, and then this load items function, we'll go into that in a second. So from what Dev was saying about the items adapter, this is basically where you're going to be implementing it. Since like I said, it's an abstract class, you have to implement it in an abstract class, or you can't have an object of that class. So here we want to do items adapter, the on click listener, and then name the object, and then we want to make a new items adapter on click listener, and then into over here it should prompt you to or it should fill this function out for you. So or not this part. It should just have this, and then for you to fill in. So when you press enter, it should like pre-fill for you, except for the logic part. And then so compared to to implement this, we want to actually do what we're supposed to be doing. So on item long clicked is going to remove the item. So right here we have the items list, and it's going to remove the item that was clicked. So if you remember from down here, when we clicked the item, it passed in get adapter position. Basically, this function passes the position of the item that was clicked, and then so when we get into here, that position is passed into in position, and then since this list up here of items is going to be the same list that or just going to be the list that we use to display our items, it's going to remove the item at that position. And then the items adapter, oh yeah, and also for adapters, you have to notify the adapter that that data has changed. So it's like an event sort of thing. So you have to notify that it has changed at that current position, and so we could readjust the Recyclerview. And then toast does is basically has like a little pop-up, and you can put text in it. So you can put toast.make text, and then the first argument is going to be the context, and the context is basically like what activity you're in. But you just have to put get application context in here, and it'll get the current context of the app. And then in the second argument, it's going to be the item was removed, or whatever you want to put in there, like user logged in, added item, stuff like that, which we'll put. And then this last argument is going to be the length that you're going to show it for. There's length short, medium, and long. Yeah. And then at the end, you're going to want to do dot show. After all this, you're going to do dot show, or else it won't show it. So just make sure to put that dot show. And then the save items function will go into that as well. in a little bit. I'm just going down kind of like the line.
Yeah.
And so now that we've made this onLong click listener, we want to initialize to actually initialize the items adapter. So onto new items adapter, and then since we've also initialized this list of items. Actually, let me go into load items first because I think that it goes a little better. So how we're loading the items and keeping persistence, um, uh, meaning that we're gonna be able to kill the app and then load it back up, and then we'll have the items still. Is we're gonna load the items from a text file. Let's see, the text file should be in here as well. Get data file. Okay. So load items is going to be so if we have the text file in there, it's going to read the lines of the text file, and then it's going to put it into the items list. So this function already does that. It's just putting it into a list. Let me see. And if there's no text file, if we haven't created that yet, it's just going to initialize items like the list into a new array list. So it doesn't show you any errors. Let's see. Data file. Get data file. Okay, and then in this data file, or in this function get data file, we're gonna be creating the txt file where we're gonna be saving all of our information or all of our to-do list items, and we're gonna call it data.txt. And then you basically just copy this line. You don't really have to know about that. That's just to keep persistence. And yeah, so I went over load items. Where was I? Okay. So now that we have the items loaded, and if we don't have any items, it's just going to be an empty list. We want to initialize items adapter, and since we initialize onLong click listener up here, it's going to be we're going to put it into the constructor. Sorry, this is really fast, but we don't have much time anyway. And so now the adapter is set and ready to go. And then the RV items is going to be the Recyclerview that we had before, and we also wanted to set an adapter to it. So each Recyclerview needs to have an adapter to be able to. If you remember the diagram, the data adapter and then Recyclerview. So we're going to set the adapter for RV items to the current adapter that we've set. And then as you remember the layout manager, we're just going to use a linear layout manager. So it's going to display it vertically like that. And then this button add is what we had down here in this layout on the bottom right. And then this is where we implement the onClick listener. It's going to do set button add dot set onClick listener, and then you're going to do new view dot onClick listener, and then it should just populate up until here. And then this part is we're just getting the item from the text view, which is going to be et.getText.toString. And then here we're going to add the item to the items list. So since it's a dynamic list, we can just if you know Java, it's just a array list which grows and shrinks dynamically.
It's kind of like a vector in C++.
Yeah. So that's exactly what it is. So and then so again, we want to notify the adapter that we've inserted an item, and then the argument in here is going to be the position where we inserted the item. And since the item is going to be inserted at the end of the list, we just want to do items.size -1 because the size of the list -1 because it's 0 indexed. And then we want to set clear the what you put in the edit text in the little box where you put the text in. We want to just clear it out so you can put more text in there. And then same thing again, a toast, you want to let the user know that the item was added successfully. And then this save items function down here, every time we add an item to the list, we want to also make sure that we're saving it to our text file, just in case anything happens, we still have that text file. And that's basically everything that there is in the app. I had to go really fast because I guess I just mismanaged the time a little bit there.
Let's just run the app first and
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah.
Let me see. Is there any questions? No. Okay. All right. So this is the app. Oh, what just happened? It just had to restart. So if you can see here, we just clicked on the bottom, and then it brought up the keyboard. You don't have to manage anything with the keyboard. If once you click on the edit text, it'll manage the keyboard automatically. Like for whatever type of edit text you made, it'll manage the keyboard automatically. And then you can do let's see, you can type in with your keyboard, or you can type it on the screen. Doesn't really matter. And then we pressed add, and then adds it up here. Onions, balsamic. And let's see, the Peter plushie. Oh, sorry. And you can't press enter because that's just it's not part of the app. And then so as for the on long click listener, as you can see, I'm gonna hold it for I believe it's like 1 second, and then it erased it, and then it notified the adapter that an item changed, and the adapter now resized the recycler view, and then it deleted that view holder, and then it put the next view holder up. So you can see here, onions. There we go, and then add something else. Add something else, like that, and stuff like that. Yeah. So and at the bottom it says item was removed. You can see red. On the bottom it says item was added. So that's basically the app. We couldn't go into anything more in depth because we don't have much time. So go ahead. Sorry.
Well, let me just share my screen real quick again.
Sure.
Can everyone see my screen?
I can see.
See my screen? Yeah. So yeah. Also, one thing that when Sergio switched off the app, and if he again switched it on, whatever was already on the to-do list would still persist, would still stay on. So it wouldn't just give an empty screen again. So yeah, so this is like just we had like a lesson plan, and I think this has got some basic code and like some basic information on how things work. So we'll definitely try to share this with you. It's not complete, but it's still important. It's still great. And those of you who stayed up till now, I'd just like to say that yeah, I know this was a very fast overview of how things work, and probably you didn't get most of it, but we have this Codepath has this amazing resource which I would definitely recommend you guys to use for making any of your apps for this hackathon, and it's like a Cliff Notes thing, and it's free for everyone, not for only those who have enrolled into the course. So if you're totally new to Android, you can check out all of these guides, and getting started as a developer. Now let's say I want to know about views and layouts and working with the soft keyboard. Even I don't know what that is. So it has all of these pictures and code snippets and stuff like that, which you can use and understand everything. So we're going to be trying. We're going to link this as well so that you guys have access to this. And yeah, it talks about adaptive views, custom views, interaction, like so many things which we couldn't get to. Networking, and this is like a really superb thing because you can now actually ask for data from APIs and stuff. So definitely we'll link this resource, even persistence, which we were talking about, fragments, images, and you can have a look at that. And then yeah, I think this will be very helpful for you.
Did we link that lesson plan?
No, we didn't. We can link it later.
Okay. Let's see. 1 second.
Oh, but someone had a few questions.
Let me actually copy it.
Does the lesson plan have the code snippets for functions like on-click? Yes. So it does talk about how to use on-click views and stuff like that. I mean, there are like so many guides over here.
Oh, there is, yeah.
There's definitely going to be, it's going to be there. For putting in, can you...
I mean, it can be, and I mean, like it's worth a whole bunch of different types.
Yeah. So what you do is I think what he's trying to ask is that can I have my own image which I can put into Android Studio, or I have to use the predefined ones? So yeah, you can add your own image to Android Studio, and you'll have to add it to your. You put it in drawables, yeah. So you add your own images to drawables or values. Which one
No,
was the difficult?
yeah, you put it in drawables. So,
Drawable.
yeah, so you can go into drawables. I mean, let me see if I can share my screen. I'm not sure if we can go further, but I mean, there's not that many people here, so let's. I feel like we can do that. 1 second. There you go. Oh,
There are
okay.
47 people, right?
Yeah. So drawable, and then you can go into into the drawable folder, new, and then drawable. Actually, yeah, drawable resource file. Actually, let me see, because I know there's different ways to do it. New. Because you have to import it. Actually, let's see.
You can actually just drag and drop as well, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, you
pretty sure.
can, but there's definitely a way to do it on here.
And yeah, Jessica, we'll make sure that you get the guide. Yeah, like everyone
Yeah,
can have
I mean,
access.
okay, so I can just. Oh, I don't want it. Sorry. I can just let's see. Oops. So I'm dragging and dropping this into the drawables folder, and if you can see, it just has it in the drawable folder, and then you can include this within in an output or I'm sorry, in a image view. So I'm gonna load it in here. Uh, you don't have to do that. Nope. Where is it? Where'd it go?
Um, yeah.
Okay. And then you want to do source. Oh yeah, and then you want to go into attributes, and then want to go into source, and then in drawables it should be in here. Why is it not in here? Where is it? Did it not reload? Sometimes Enter Studio is very annoying, and it doesn't reload.
So I think you've added a GIF. You've not added an image.
But I mean, it should be able to support the GIF. Let me see if I can add an image. What is it? What is this? It should be able to support a GIF. Let's see. Sorry. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. Do it manual drawable. Drawable. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
My beautiful headshot. So I mean, if you don't find it within this little menu in like when you click on the source compat. Oh, it's right here. Okay. I guess it doesn't support a GIF, but I've done it before, so that's weird. You can also do add drawable. Add drawable. And then it shows everything that's in the drawable folder. So I picked headshot, and that's what's in the drawable folder. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think that the lesson plan should have that stuff, right, Dev, for OnClick.
Yeah.
Let me just real quick. I mean, I know we're over time. I don't know if Chase cares or Hack cares. I mean, I can just keep going. There's like other stuff that I can show. Let's see. All right. For this part, okay, yeah. For this part, I can show you like what it does when you want to add one. So if I add dot set, like yeah. So and it's really good because the Android framework has a whole bunch of pre-built stuff, so you don't have to do a lot of the work. So when we start typing set on click listener, you can just press enter, and then when you're in right here, you put new on click listener, and so see how it pops up right here, and then it selects the top one, and you press enter again, and then it populates the whole thing. So you don't have to write override public void and view. Like you don't have to do that. You just have to start implementing the code within here, and that's the same thing for like right here as well. Like when you do new items on click listener, I'll just do it again. Oops. Actually, let me go back because I don't want to break the app. There we go.
Chase, the session is ending in like a minute.
Oh shoot. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. That's the thing. Can you go to our room or team? Okay, no worries. If you guys want me to keep going, I can just go to your team room. We're team 9. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. I'll join your team room. If Deb wants to join, that's cool too. Uh, okay, cool. All right, thanks, Chase. We'll see you
Yeah,
guys in your room. Thanks.
yeah, and yeah, we'll make sure you have the doc. Okay.